Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Quest Nature Tours, offering expert-led small group tours for bird and nature lovers since 1970. Explore exceptional journeys around the world at questnaturetours.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent, family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. BeautyOBooks.com.
Good morning. Welcome to our show, number 953, in which we'll learn about a wonderful way to enhance our backyard birding experience when we welcome the leader of the Cornell Labs Project FeederWatch to our show this morning. If you've been listening for a while, you've heard audio postcards here from listeners all over the U.S. and beyond. And today we have one from our Talkin' Birds home state of Massachusetts. It's from Talkin' Birds ambassador Andy Volpe, who's spent part of his August combining a little history with birding.
Hello, Talkin' Birds. This is Andy Volpe. I am at the American Heritage Museum in Hudson, Massachusetts, mid-August. There is a living history timeline here. Everything from ancient Romans to modern, World War II. Might hear some of the birds in the background. We're up next to a lake and a small river. A couple years ago when we were here, there was a bald eagle's nest. And the baby was not very happy. Neither were the parents. They kept swarming reenactors for the weekend. It was both amusing and a little annoying, but that's the way it goes. Well, hopefully it'll be a pretty good day today. The rain's moved off and sun's out. It's already getting pretty warm.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Thanks for that history-infused audio postcard. Next week, we'll listen to an inspiring audio postcard from North Carolina. And guess what? We're getting low on audio postcards, so please send us one. It could be from a South African savanna or the Australian outback, or out back at your house, your backyard. That is, anywhere where there's a bird or two. And to make an audio postcard, just grab your phone or maybe some other digital recording device, fire up a recording app, and describe what you see for 30 seconds to a minute and a half, and pick up a little bird song in the process if possible, and then send the resulting file to this email address, ray@talkinbirds.com. That's ray@talkinbirds.com. We'll be looking and listening for your audio postcard. What we're listening to there is our mystery bird. It's a preview of the Mystery Bird Contest, which we'll do later in the show, but in order to get some calls in before the show ends when we do it, we like to give a little preview of our Mystery Bird in the contest. Our bird is a small marsh bird with a mostly slate gray body, a brownish back and tail, a black face, and a yellow bill that's kind of candy corn shaped. The Cornell Labs All About Birds website says this bird walks slowly through shallow wetlands, a bit like a chicken that has had too much coffee. It nervously flicks its tail while walking, exposing white feathers below. It's also been described as kind of triangular shaped, this bird. Our bird breeds across most of the U.S. and Canada, winters across the southern states and down into Central and South America, feeds on seeds and aquatic insects. That's our mystery bird. Prizes are beautiful, including the Brome Squirrel Solution 150 feeder. What's so beautiful about it? Well, it's genuinely squirrel-proof, for one thing. That's pretty beautiful. And it's chew-proof, and it's easy to clean. And it even features a vented seed tray that keeps the seed fresh and dry. All those beautiful things there. And a 12-ounce bag of our favorite coffee. It's delicious, bird-friendly Birds and Beans coffee, grown under the natural forest canopy in the neotropics, helping to provide habitat for our birds heading down there this fall. Those are the two big prizes on our Mystery Bird Contest, and if we have time for the bonus question, we'll also help protect your windows from bird crashes with a feather-friendly bird window collision kit. All on our Mystery Bird Contest, coming along a little bit later on in the show. Conservation good news of the week in two parts. Part one, the White House has announced an initiative to train more than 20,000 young people in skills crucial to combating climate change. Skills like installing solar panels, restoring coastal wetlands, and retrofitting homes to be more energy efficient. Administration officials say all participants in the program will be paid, although they have not so far disclosed specific salaries. The info, or the website for info, is whitehouse.gov/climatecorps, CORPS. That's whitehouse.gov/climatecorps. Conservation Good News Part 2. Some good news about bird conservation in a story that got lost in the shuffle of last week's show. The Department of the Interior has announced that more than $50 million in funding has been approved to help the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and its partners conserve, restore, or enhance more than 106,000 acres of wetlands and associated upland habitat for waterfowl, shorebirds, and other birds across the U.S. Some good news there. Now a little royal salute. On last week's show, we were honored to have the director of the American Bird Conservancy's Birds and Pesticides program, Hardy Kern, as our guest. And then we were further honored when Hardy signed up as a Talkin' Birds ambassador, pledging to help get the word out about our show and helping us with our goal of spreading the word about birds and conservation. Thank you, Hardy. And to all Talkin' Birds listeners, we would be equally honored if you would join our ambassador's family. Easy to sign up for, easy to take part in. For details and a sign-up sheet, just go to the Get Involved tab at talkinbirds.com. That's talkinbirds.com. Still to come today, we'll talk with the leader of a marvelous project to benefit birds through citizen science. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology's Emma Gregg will be here to tell us about Project FeederWatch 2023-24. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for Let's Ask Mike Live, subject on the topic of puffins. And up next, a battling little bird that punches way above its weight class is today's Talkin' Birds featured feathered friend. Today's featured feathered friend might be the feistiest fighter since Yosemite Sam. It's a hummingbird known for its relentless attacks on other hummers, including the bigger ones with whom it shares some of its far west territory. Our bird is the medium-sized rufous hummingbird. The male is bright rufous brown overall, with a white breast and ear patch, a red-orange throat, green shoulders, and a round black-edged rufous-colored tail. The female has green upper parts, rufous sides and undertail, and a gray and white throat with an orange-red spot. This wide-ranging hummer makes one of the longest migratory journeys of any bird in the world as measured by body size, and breeds farther north than any other hummingbird, up through northwest Canada and southeast Alaska. It's seen all through the western U.S. in migration to and from southern Mexico, in spring in California, in summer in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska, and in fall in the Rocky Mountains as the bird makes its annual western circuit. They're even seen occasionally in the eastern U.S., especially in the fall, and many winter in the Gulf Coast states. Rufous hummers will visit backyard flowers and feeders, hovering with wings flapping at up to 60 beats per second, although they tend not to stick around for long and may chase away other visiting hummer species. It's the fast-flapping, wide-ranging West Coast feisty fighter, Selasphorus rufus, the rufous hummingbird.
Now all of you skunks, clear out of here!
Welcome again to our show, number 900 and, let me check, 953. Project FeederWatch is described as a way to turn our love of birds into scientific discoveries. And to tell us more about Project FeederWatch, which begins again soon, is project leader Emma Gregg. Good morning, Emma.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's great to have you back after 4 years, I believe, since we had you on the show.
I can't believe it's been so long.
But that's really kind of a very small part of the time Project FeederWatch has been going. Is it 30 years, maybe, something like that?
More like 35?
35 years?
It's been going on for quite a while. It's a wonderful, long-standing program.
I guess it has proved itself. This is a project that puts an emphasis on ease of participation and flexibility, as the project description states. Count your birds for as long as you like, on days of your choosing, and here's the real kicker. You don't even need a feeder. That's pretty flexible, especially for something called Project FeederWatch.
Yeah, that's right. We've been trying to promote this no-feeder approach, but it's not too easy with a name like FeederWatch. So thanks for helping me spread the word about that a little bit.
Our Mike O'Connor is not going to like that because he sells feeders, but that's a whole nother story. Well, let's say what I want to know is, how is usable data obtained, given that it's so flexible? People can sort of do it here and there and whenever, and how does that turn into good data?
Well, I'll tell you, mathematics is just a real wonderful thing. And you can take a bunch of bird counts from all different times and all different places. And by using math, you can correct for the amount of time people watched and the places that they watched, and come up with really beautiful patterns about how bird populations are changing.
Okay, it always seems it comes back to math. Well, there's a fee of $18 to take part in the project, which starts in November. But lots of goodies are included. I wonder if you would detail those for us, Emma. And I believe there's a special incentive for folks to sign up here in September.
There is. Yeah. Well, with every membership, people can have the option of getting a beautiful bird identification poster with birds from the east on one side and from the west on the other. A calendar that's great for scheduling your bird counts, or anything you want, your appointments, whatever. But in September, we're also sending people a beautiful new poster that was just created by one of the art interns at the Lab for Ornithology, that's all about garden plants that you can put out for birds. So beautiful poster, really trying to also spread this idea that there are lots of ways to support birds in your yard other than just having bird feeders. That is, I've been looking at that poster. It really, really is sweet. Did you mention this also as one of the, and this is not just for September, but digital access to Living Bird magazine, which is an amazing magazine. Yeah, that's right. I didn't mention that, but it's a gorgeous magazine, and this is one way to get a peek at it, is by joining FeederWatch. Okay, so that and the calendar, double-sided poster of eastern and western common feeder birds, year-end summary winter bird highlights, and if you sign up in September, that very special calendar. That, how do we describe it again, that one for September? It's a poster about native garden plants for birds. And they're all on there. We got rose-breasted grosbeaks on there, and Baltimore orioles, and all kinds of beautiful birds and the plants. So Cornell Lab has a partner in the Project FeederWatch survey. It's Birds Canada. And Canada's where the whole thing started, right? It sure did. It started in the 70s in Canada. A biologist named Erica Dunn thought, gosh, so many folks are putting out bird feeders and feeding their birds in winter. Why don't we ask them to just tell us what they see? Send in those observations. So that's really how it started, was just someone thinking, let's put one thing together with another. And I bet she didn't think it would end up being still going now 45 years later. Wow. Well, in all that time, I wonder if you could give a summary in a very short bit of time, Emma, about some of the most important things that have been learned in all those years that Project FeederWatch has been around. Now, that's a tough question because there have been about 30, 40 papers that have come from FeederWatch data. But I was thinking, like, what's a good summary of this? And I think, whether you're looking at invasive species or disease dynamics or range expansions, the theme that always kind of comes out to me is that what we do, what people do in our own yards, has a big impact collectively on birds and their well-being. So that's kind of the theme that's come from a lot of the FeederWatch work.
Yeah, so the information, the data, but the actual doing of the activity in our individual yards.
Yeah, it's how we maintain our yards, the kind of habitat that we provide, the foods we provide. So, yeah, we have a big impact.
You have a big revamp of data entry that you were telling me about. Give us a bit of an idea of that.
Well, we sure do. And it kind of stems from that very theme of how we have an impact on birds. Part of what this grant and the revamp of the FeederWatch is going to try to figure out is what kind of impact do birds have on our well-being? So we're going to be looking at all kinds of things that are happening in people's yards, sick birds that show up, mammals. Now you can report mammals through FeederWatch. The sorts of management activities you do. There's going to be so much more that we're going to be able to study and understand about the whole dynamic between people and birds in their yards.
This is one of those things where you say, why would you not want to sign up for this? Really, many, lots of good reasons there. Give us a little recap, Emma, on the best way for people to sign up and why now is the time to do it.
Well, now's a great time because we've got a whole new system coming up this fall. We've got a beautiful poster you can get if you sign up before the end of September. And the best place to do it is on our website, which is www.feederwatch.org.
feederwatch.org. I think we got it. Emma Gregg is project director for the Cornell Labs and Bird Canada's Project FeederWatch, feederwatch.org. Emma, thanks for being on the show and best wishes for a fabulous FeederWatch.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Emma Gregg here on Talking Birds, and up next, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. It's our mystery bird we're hearing there. It's our mystery bird contest. And here's an important note for future mystery bird contests. If you're not hearing our show live and would like to, so you could enter our mystery bird contest, for example, just go to talkingbirds.com, no G in talkin', and you'll see how to do it. It's very easy. Our live broadcast, by the way, is on Sunday mornings, 9:30 to 10 Eastern. Our mystery bird is a small marsh bird with a mostly slate gray body, kind of triangular shaped is one way it's been described, this bird. A brownish back and tail, a black face, and a yellow bill that's sort of candy corn shaped. The Cornell Labs All About Birds website says that this bird walks slowly through shallow wetlands a bit like a chicken that has had too much coffee, nervously flicking its tail and exposing the white tail feathers below. Our bird breeds across most of the U.S. and Canada, winters across the southern states and down into Central and South America, and feeds on seeds and aquatic insects. Tell us what that bird is, or take a guess on account of, even if we don't get a right answer, an almost right answer will perhaps be our winner, because we'll do a drawing if there's no exact correct answer to the identity of our bird. So give us a call. Either way, it's 781-837-4900. Do it as soon as you can. That's 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, puffins is the word with Mike O'Connor. It's Let's Ask Mike live in just 1 minute.
What's one of your favorite memories?
That's a tough question. Well, there was this one time I went camping with my parents in a forest back when I was maybe like 8 or 9. And I can remember one night we were in our hammocks and we were just, watching the trees rustling in the wind above us, and we could hear the sounds of the forest all around us. Frogs singing and owls calling and the creek running nearby. It was amazing. It felt like we were a part of it all. I don't know if I do it justice trying to describe it, but I'll definitely never forget it.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Mike O'Connor down there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store in beautiful Orleans on fabulous Cape Cod. Is with us here with our Let's Ask Mike thing. And good morning, Mike.
Let's Ask Mike thing. I like that.
Yeah, that's the new name. I guess we got to tell you that, the Mike thing. It's something we just came up with. I hope you like it. I mean,
no, it's very clever.
Yeah,
thing. Very well thought out. I like that.
It has a nice ring to it.
The Mike thing.
We are reading here that this some false information. Apparently, I see this note that I wrote that puffins can actually carry as many as 60 sand lances in its beak at the same time to bring to their chicks. That can't really be true, right? This is kind of a misprint I got here.
No, it's not true. What else do you want to talk about?
Okay, moving along then, yes.
No, I know last week you mentioned, I think it was last week's show, you mentioned how the puffins in the Gulf of Maine had an exceptionally good breeding year after a couple of stinky years. Yeah. And one of them was a good population of sand lances, those little tiny fish. We used to call them sand eels, but they do breed in the bottom of the ocean, right in the sand, but they're not really eels, so they call them sand lances. And it was a good year. But the amazing thing is people would ask me, because you always get that iconic picture. Every photographer gets a picture of a puffin on a rock holding like a dozen fish in its mouth. And how can it catch that many fish? Because like a pelican will dive down in a school of fish and scoop them all up at once, but the puffin has to catch them one at a time. And if you put like a stick in a dog's mouth, and then the dog carries a stick, if it wants to pick up another stick, it has to drop the first stick because the stick gets in the way. It's, the dog's mouth is wide at the front but tapers down in the back, and so when it closes its teeth down on it, it can't get the other stick because it funnels down on the back. So what the puffins do, the puffin's beak doesn't have that funneling down in the back. It's not narrow in the back. Like if you took your fingers and made like scissors, it's narrow towards the back. Well, puffins don't work that way. It actually, the beaks kind of go up and down parallel to each other, so they can kind of hold a lot of fish without the first fish getting in the way. When they dive down, they swim around, they catch a fish, and then they lock into their top beak with their mandible and has these barbs facing backwards and push the fish up there, and then they can grab another fish and then another fish and do the same mechanism. And usually it's 10 or a dozen fish they use to fly back to their breeding colony with. But I think Scotland, one bird has as many as 60. I don't know who. Wow. It may be, I don't know if they counted them or they had to take the puffin's word for it, but as many as 60 at a time. But that's the trouble with the puffins, these sand lances, which are really important, where the puffins breeding colonies, and where they nest, they have strong fidelity, so the male goes right back to the same burrow every year. The sand lances don't do that, so their populations fluctuate and they breed different areas at different times of the year. And this year, it was a real good year for breeding for the puffins. So their population grew, and hopefully it'll continue that way. And here's a little bit of information. According to what I read, is the puffin name came from why? Because The puffin chicks are so fat and puffy. That's where the name came from. So that's a little bit of an adorable tidbit that the puffin bird is named on their fat, puffy chicks when they have. So that's the story with that.
Wow.
And then next week, Ray, it's going to be more exciting because I think the Finch forecast is coming out. The Finch forecast that Tyler Hoare gives out every year tells us when the unusual birds are coming down from Canada. So let's look forward to that.
Yeah, will you have something really puffy cute to that then for that too?
I get one cute story a year. That's it.
Year. All right. We'll look forward to it. Nonetheless, Mike, talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds cool. Yep, bye-bye.
Mike O'Connor there from the famous Birdwatchers General Store in Cape Cod. And we're back here at the Mystery Bird Contest. 781-837-4900 is the number to call. What is that bird? Just quickly for clues there, it's a small marsh bird with a slate gray body, or mostly slate gray, brownish back and tail, a black face, and a yellow bill that's candy corn shaped. Roxanne is somewhere in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Good morning, Roxanne.
Good morning.
I have that right. Don't I count? It's a Commonwealth. Pennsylvania is called a Commonwealth. Am I right?
Actually, yes, it is.
Massachusetts, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, I think, are the three. But don't take my word for it. But anyway, Roxanne, what do you think on the mystery bird there?
I think it's a sora.
A sora. Just one short little four-letter word there. Sora is absolutely right. Yes, nice work. Sora, that fascinating little marsh bird with the bill that looks like a little candy corn, except that it's all yellow. Hey, we have a little extra time here for a bonus question, if you'd be willing to try it.
Okay.
You want to try it? This is at stake is the feather-friendly window collision kit, bird window collision kit that will protect from birds crashing into your windows. And here's the multiple choice question, Roxanne. From 2020 to 22, U.S. birders spent maybe as much as $476,000 to do what? A, to go on birding tours to Central and South America. B, to travel to see the Steller's sea eagle on its journey across North America. Or C, to buy gift certificates for the Birdwatchers General Store. Those would be your three options there. I think it's the third one. But,
boy.
Yeah. What do you think? Central or South America or North America for the Stellar sea eagle?
I'll say A.
A would be for the Central and South America for the... No. If it's any consolation, I think I probably would have guessed that as well, but it was to see the Stellar sea eagle. People are so excited about all those sightings of that incredibly magnificent bird, and there's still been some sightings again pretty recently, if I'm not mistaken. It was up in northern Maine or maybe Nova Scotia. We'll have to check on that and report back next week about that. But in any case,
I've heard about that.
Say that again?
I've heard about that, but I didn't think that many people would go to see that.
Who would have thunk it? Well, you win those other beautiful prizes, Roxanne, and if you'll stay on the line, Jesse will get your info and we'll send that stuff out to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Roxanne. Correctly back at the Mystery Bird Contest, identifying the Sora as our mystery bird. Thanks so much for being with us. We are plumb out of time for this week. We have an exciting guest next week, also from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Hugh Powell will be here with us talking about that remarkable website we referenced earlier, All About Birds. See you next week.
The bird show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics. With the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. BeautyOBooks.com.